Coldwater Canyon. Looks like Christmas. I already showed you the setup last night. That's what it looks like. We're here. We made it to the top. And no, I'm not filming weird. I'm laying weird on the hammock and swinging. 'Cause it's fun. Whee! Hey guys, Utah Steve back for another overnight adventure. I'm just taking in the last of the warmth of my car before heading up the Indian Trail in Ogden Canyon. And partway up the Indian Trail is Coldwater Canyon. So I'm going to be splitting off of the Indian Trail going up Coldwater Canyon. I already have a campsite picked out from a previous hike. I'm going to camp there overnight. This is my first snow camp and my first hammock camp. I'm not bringing a tent, I'm sleeping in a hammock. I have a whole system with me that I've been putting together for the last probably year, a little piece at a time as I could afford it. So hopefully I'll be warm enough. My pack weighs about 30 pounds, maybe 30 to maybe pushing 40 with food and water. But it is cold outside. It's going to be in the 20s up here at night and the 40s right now during the day. It is actually, yeah, it's 35 degrees up here right now, and it's 3 in the afternoon. So I have a lot of gear with me to keep me warm. We'll go over that when I get up to the campsite. Right now I need to get on the trail because being 3 p.m. the sun's gonna disappear fast. It's been going down around 5:30 p.m. so I only have about 3/4 of a mile to hike in, but it's kind of steep, so I need to get on the road. I need to get on the trail, actually. Okay, guys. We are on the trail. You can see around me, lots of snow. I had to put on a lot of my warmer gear as soon as I got here. I like to start out slow and cold, build up that body heat while I hike, and then add layers. But a little bit colder than I thought it would be. The biggest push for this trail is usually right at the beginning, so I'm probably not going to do too much hiking video right now. I just need to get up to the campsite and then we'll just focus on the camp itself. Tomorrow we're going to do some exploring. Right here, this little bridge is one of 3 that we're going to encounter. We won't quite encounter the third one because just before that third bridge is our trail going into Coldwater Canyon. This is an old campsite. We're not using this one. It's right off the trail, and I just don't want to be that close to any people. Not that there will probably be any up here. There was only one other car in the parking lot besides me. But if you look back through my videos, you'll find one where I did a day hike on the Indian Trail with my 2 little boys and my older son. And we actually found a tent stuffed under that bridge. I tried setting it up right here, and one of the poles was broken, another one was missing. So we put it back under there. I don't like it when people leave crap like that, and I usually don't contribute to it, but somebody obviously came and got it. It's not there anymore, even though that was probably a year and a half ago. I do hear voices coming down, so let's get to that trail where we cut off to Coldwater Canyon. Here's our third bridge, our second bridge, sorry. That's the bigger one. Our first bridge is just right back there. They're pretty close together. And then the third bridge is up this trail a little further, and not very much further to our camp spot. Now I do have a water bottle with me to fill with river water. You can see we have a water source. And I'll probably hike back down here after I set up camp and do that. And the reason I need it isn't because I didn't bring water, but I need to fill this empty water bottle I brought with boiled water when I go to bed, because I'm going to put that in my sleeping bag so that I can sleep warm tonight. It's like a little furnace, and it usually will work all night. Looks like Christmas. Okay, so Coldwater Canyon, the third bridge. So before you get to the third bridge on Indian Trail, you go up this thing to Coldwater Canyon. Now, I've been pretty lucky so far. The trail behind me, as you can see, is fairly clean. There's not a lot of snow on it. I have had to use my poles. I'm glad I brought them, especially going downhill where it was snowy. These really helped. They're also really nice to lean on when you need to take a break without having to find somewhere to sit in this. So anyway, we're gonna head up Coldwater. Our camp is just up there. We're almost there. So just before we get up to our camp here, I want you to take a look and a listen. If I can keep from panting so much. It's a lot of weight, but I'm gonna be warm tonight. Christmas tree. Merry Christmas. Okay, so I'm down in this ravine and our trail's right behind me. Our camp is just up there, right up that trail. I don't have to hike all the way back down there to put water in my water bottle because I've got this little spring here. Nice little water source. And if I do run out of water for drinking or cooking, I can just come down here because I have my water filter system with me as well. Melting snow is an option, but snow is like 99% air and 1% water, and you have to use a lot of fuel melting that snow down to get enough water. I really don't get excited about that. Okay, bright orange just in case there's hunters. I've got 2 layers on. I've got this long sleeve shirt and this short sleeve, both moisture wicking synthetic materials. I've got my fleece you saw me wearing over there, the camouflage. I've got this hoodie, which is cotton and really bad to get wet. You shouldn't bring cotton camping, backpacking, because once it's wet, it takes forever to dry. It doesn't really even insulate you. So the reason I brought this was just to wrap. It is a layer of extra warmth, but it's mostly to wrap around my pillow, which is nylon and very uncomfortable and cold. Wrap this around it, softer, more comfortable. I'm thinking seriously of comfort and warmth, plenty of food. I'm a bit dehydrated. I just took a pee and it was kind of dark. So I do need to hydrate for a little bit. I'm cooling off so I don't get hypothermia. I'm actually pretty comfortable right now because of all the heat I generated from hiking. Here's a look around the campsite. There's a fire pit. I don't have high hopes for a fire. I'm kind of getting in that habit when I backpack to not build a fire. And not always, but sometimes I just, man, looking for dry wood in this. I'm gonna try. I brought my little saw and I'm gonna try to find an old dead tree that's still upright or has been untouched by the snow. See what I can do. It would be nice. It would be comforting, especially as it gets darker. Psychologically good for you. I'm gonna set my hammock up here between this tree right here and this tree over here, right over there. I can't see what I'm pointing at. And then we've just got all this pristine, beauty around us. Now, I did film a couple of gear review videos up here just a couple of weeks ago. So some of this might look familiar. That's actually the rock my poles are leaning up on that I filmed some videos for Foxelli water hydration pack, a bunch of items. They're all filmed right in here, and that's how I found the spot. So it helps to kind of scout out a place ahead of time so that if you get there too late and it's dark or whatever, you don't have a GPS. Like, I don't have a GPS, but I'm honestly not that far. I know how to find my way back to and from. I'm familiar with the area, so I don't worry about that. But if I was hiking somewhere I'd never been, yeah, take a GPS, take a map and compass. Don't risk your life to get out in the mountains, you know. This whole trip is about getting away, being comfortable, being warm, and just enjoying myself. So I was gonna have a buddy come along on this trip at the last minute. He had to work, so that didn't happen. Maybe next time. But that's cool, man. Just look at this. Ooh. Can you believe that? Look at that blue sky. Amazing. Now my first order of business is to get my hammock set up. I need my shelter more than anything else, more than firewood. That's where all my warmth is going to be during the night, and shelter. I'm going to take my hiking poles and knock some of this snow out of these trees because I don't want it dropping on my hammock all night. It's going to storm tomorrow afternoon again. More snow up here, but I'll be gone by then. I planned this just right, I think. So I'm going to knock down some snow and set things up, and then I'll come back and tell you what kind of gear loadout I have. Well, as you can see, it got pretty dark on me really fast. It is only like 5:30, and yeah, the campfire's not happening for obvious reasons. It's getting too dark. I haven't even begun to dig out the pit. Just so you know, this is only the second time I set up my hammock ever. I set it up in my backyard as a test run, and I wasn't real fond of it. This is the second trial. That's really the purpose of this camp out, is to test it out and also get outside in the snow, which sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I love it. I think it's great. When I was a kid, I hated winter camping, and it's probably because I camped in Levi's and in a crappy tent with a cheap sleeping bag and froze my butt off, and didn't have very much fun. I didn't understand a lot of the things I understand now. I'm sorry you can't see too well, but here's my hammock set up in there. Nice little cocoon with the tarp over the top. I've got a ridge line with a light. Let me turn that on. Okay. I've got a little ridge line running with the tarp, or with a light on it. I've got my Bluetooth speaker. This is a 5-degree Teton Sports bag, so I should be cozy. Underneath that I have my pillow, and I told you that was nylon. That's the pillow. Gonna wrap that with my hoodie in a little bit. Just keeping my fuel in here for now. I'm not gonna sleep with it, but I'm trying to keep it warm so that it actually works. Underneath the hammock, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, or if I'll have to wait till morning. Anyway, this is a Snug Pack jungle blanket. Very warm. In the summertime, I slept with just this over me, and it kept me warm. Any part of me that was under this kept me warm. So I put that as a layer of insulation. Underneath that, I have my Alps Mountaineering inflatable sleep pad. Why do you need a sleep pad in a hammock? It provides insulation. Plain and simple. It's another layer of warmth. And then underneath all this, I have my Snug Pack under blanket, which is not a true under quilt, but it's an affordable way of doing things. And with all these other layers, I'm going to sleep in long underwear. I've got my down coat, got a pair of thick warm socks to sleep in. And check this out. I bought this last winter, and haven't been able to use it until now, just for sleeping in cold weather. There you go. This is a nice warm fleece hood with a mask. And let's see, get under the light. See that? There you go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be warm, guys. I've also got some fleece gloves with me. I have to dig them out of my pack still. And that's about it. I'm not even hungry. It's only 5:30, like I said, and I had some food on the way here so that I would have energy for the hike. I'm still full, so I don't know if I'm going to eat dinner tonight or just have a snack before bed. And we'll talk about what I brought for food and all my gear load out tomorrow morning, unfortunately, because it gets so dark so fast this time of year. It is late November. We have a week left, less than a week left of November. Just a few days, in fact. So I do have another one of these little lanterns right here to kind of light up camp if I have to get up in the night or whatever. But right now I'm going to go down to the creek, fill my bottle with water so I have some to boil. I did hang my hydration bag right here. That's probably going to freeze by morning. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't want to put that in my sleeping bag because, you know, if that breaks and I'm in deep if that snaps and I'm in my sleeping bag and swimming, basically. Darkness has fallen and there's not much to say. I'll tell you what, I'll come back when I'm ready to climb in and get warm and just hang out in my hammock and we'll talk for a while. Hopefully that'll make up for some of the lost time. It's not summer anymore. I don't have all evening to talk and show you around the place. So tomorrow will be our exploration day and our fun get out and hike and that kind of thing. So that's about it. Hopefully this does the trick. If not, we'll learn from it and we'll do it different next time. But for now, that's the point of this trip, is just to learn and experience things. People can tell you till they're blue in the face what works great for them, but it may not work great for you. So you just have to get out. You can read all you want about how to do this stuff. And you can watch all the videos you want for inspiration or guidance, and that's great. It really is. I rely on that quite a bit. But ultimately, it takes getting out there and having the experience and learning from it. I guarantee you mistakes will be made. I already realized I forgot my yak tracks for my shoes. I got them for Christmas last year. Was excited to finally use them this year, and I forgot them. But the trail hasn't been that bad, so I didn't really need them. So it probably would have been just extra weight that I didn't need to carry. Anyway, that's it, you know, so far. My shoes are wet. I do not have waterproof shoes. I knew that coming in, though. But this was my only chance to get out, and I did not have the time to get out and get some waterproof boots and break them in before this camp out. So we'll just put on our thick warm socks, sleep in those, and tuck these away in a dry bag in the bottom of my sleeping bag and let them dry out and stay warm through the night. They won't be so ice cold in the morning. That's it, guys. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Woo! When you do this, make sure it's a Nalgene type bottle. I tried this once with a Walmart 88-cent water bottle and it melted it. Make sure you're using something made to hold hot water. Like this. Seal it up. Make sure it's sealed tight. You don't want any leaks in your sleeping bag. Make sure it's on straight. Check for leaks. It's ready to go in the sleeping bag with you. So cold. So cold. Not really. I am toasty. This is fantastic. All the pressure is off my back and my lower back. Usually I have some kind of lower back pain, and it's mostly because of the way I sleep at home. And sleeping in a hammock takes all that pressure off your back. And key is keeping your underside warm. And with this under blanket and the sleep pad and the Snug Plaque jungle blanket, and then this 5-degree bag and this hood on, I've got the flannel, and I've got my my long underwear on under my down coat. You wouldn't even know that I was sleeping in a snowy forest. It's incredibly peaceful and quiet, and I'm having a great time. I got the hot water bottle at my feet, changing into my socks, my thick socks from my hiking socks, and out of my pants into my long underwear. It was a bit of a chore, but it was all done in the hammock. And then getting in the sleeping bag was kind of a wrestling match, as you might expect, because it's not an overquilt, it's a sleeping bag that zips up. In the summer, I would only have an underquilt, an overquilt, and a sleeping pad. I don't even think I'd bring a sleeping bag. Maybe the jungle blanket, just for extra measure, but would not carry this much weight, this much bulk. But it was worth it this time. Being in the mountains by myself in the cold sounds completely miserable to some people, but if you've ever done this and had a good experience, it's fantastic. Would you believe I am 20 minutes from my house? How lucky am I, how blessed am I to live so close to something I can get away to so quickly? It's only 7 p.m., but there's really nowhere to sit out there. And I was getting kind of cold, and I'm not hungry. And so I decided just to get in the bag, in the hammock, and keep warm. So I'm just going to hang out here and listen to some nice music and enjoy being out here. Eventually I'll go to sleep, and then I will bring you guys back in the morning and give you a tour of what I couldn't show you tonight. And then we'll go for a hike. We'll take it from there. All right, guys. So I don't know if this is good night, but if it is, good night. And if something comes up before I go to bed, I'll let you know. It's after midnight. Just a little update. I was laying here. No wild animals this time. It's actually really quiet. It's unreal. I'm not used to this kind of quiet, but I sure appreciate it. Anyway, I dozed off for a little while, and then I just woke up starving because earlier I was so full from my late lunch, and I just didn't want to eat. So I woke up incredibly hungry, and at the same time had to pee really bad. Man, I did not want to get out of this hammock. It is comfortable, it is warm, it's rocking me like a baby. And a baby. I said that weird. You know, you got to meet your body's needs. So I got up and peed, and I opened the beef jerky I brought and ate a whole bunch of it until I felt better. So blood sugar came up. Stomach has something to do. Bladder is empty. I'm just going to lay here and read, I think, for a little while. And that's about it. Good morning, guys. I have to say the hammock test was a success. I slept well, and I've been warm the entire night. I didn't have any moment where I was cold. If I expose my face, of course, to the
air like I am right now, after a while it gets pretty cold, but this bag has been extremely warm. The insulating ideas that I had for this worked great for winter. I'm looking forward to summer when I only need a top and bottom quilt, and a bug net and my tarp. It'll be a lot lighter to carry and a lot more, a lot less cramped, I guess. I mean, this is a lot. All this down, and I don't know. It's just it's very comfortable. It's very soft. It's just very. I'm used to laying in this hammock with nothing, like in my yard and things like that, or on a hike. I'm relieved because I'm trying to get away from tents, not completely, but I'm trying to move away from them into something more lightweight and easier on my back. And this worked great. So, no complaints here. I am not looking forward to getting up and climbing out into the snowy wilderness. There were a few times during the night that I heard some animals walking through, and they didn't get too close. So, not a problem there. So, the next order of business is to get my courage up to get out of this warm, comfortable cocoon and have some hot oatmeal and a warm drink, and I think Pop-Tarts came with that. Just some calories and some energy to warm me up and get me going. And then we'll take it from there. Okay, we're up and going, and here's the grand tour. Over here we have the hammock under my tarp. This tarp is reflective on the underside, so it held the heat in quite well. And of course my setup that whoa, there we go. What was that? This cold weather doesn't agree with my phone. So real quick, I already showed you the setup last night. That's what it looks like in broad daylight. Got my essential Osprey pack organizer here. This has my hygiene, fire kit, and first aid. Always bring that with. Keeps everything in one place too. Over here we have my food bag. Normally I'd take that off and hang it in a tree out of a bear's reach, but as you can look around me, it's the end of November. There's not even animal prints through my camp. I figured I'd be okay. I was. It's not a gamble that you should take, but I did. And there you have it. So go ahead and post your hate comments down below about what an idiot I am for doing that. Anyway, it worked out fine. I took my stuff sack over here for the hammock gear, and I just put any extras in it so that they weren't on the ground. Things like stuff sacks, and I have some hand warmers in there. I have some in my pockets, because I told you I always forget some major thing, and this time it was my gloves. And luckily I have hand warmers with me. My hands have not been that cold. If I leave them out for very long or touch the snow too much, they definitely get cold. So I hung my pack on this tree right here just to get it off the ground. Let's go ahead and see what the temperature is outside. 37.5. Now last night when I went to bed, that's about what it was. So it's warmer this morning than I thought it would be, which is good because 37 is not really that bad to me. You start getting down in the 20s and yeah, I really start feeling it. Now this is my trail camera. I've got to turn it off. I started bringing this. I totally spaced it on my last outing when they had the moose go through my camp. And that sort of triggered, I better bring this in case something like that happens. It would be really cool to get pictures. So I don't think we got anything but me on there, but right now it's taking pictures as I speak, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off for now. And maybe when I go hiking, I'll flip it on in case something wanders through here. And that's about it for the grand tour. So basically we have my camp equipment, or my stove equipment down here, but I had to put my fuel in my sleeping bag just now. This spot right here is where the fuel canister was, and when I went to pick it up, I got a chunk of earth with it. Froze to the ground. I forgot to put it in my bag with me last night to keep it warm, so it's back in the bag next to my warm water bottle, which is still semi-warm, the one I boiled last night. Jeez. And so as soon as that warms up enough, we'll worry about breakfast. And then pretty much the plan after that is to go for a hike. It's a beautiful morning, blue sky. I guess you can see that. Clouds are moving in a bit, but it's not really supposed to storm till later today, and we'll be out of here by then. Whew. So good morning from Christmas land. If you saw my video for the Foxelli hydration pack that I posted not too long ago, the good people at Foxelli sent me to test out. I'm continuing to test it, and not the pack, but the bladder. And this sat out overnight. It looks frozen, but guess what? It's not. A little slushy, but it was sub freezing last night. And I have a bit of a slushy here, but it did not freeze. So I'll go ahead and test the hose here. It's insulated, so we'll see. I'm not getting anything. So the part of it that's actually insulated froze. Well, that'll thaw out eventually. I'm not worried about it. I have other water. Not just the water in my sleeping bag, but some other water bottles that I brought. Didn't want to go without water, so that's gonna have to thaw out. But at least the bag, which is the part I thought would freeze, did not freeze. What I did here with my ridge line, I tied the either end of the hammock up to the trees. The straps for the hammock itself come up underneath. But then I continued with the ridge line. I got some more of this cord and I ran it across here in case I needed to hang something. I didn't have to use that one, but I did use this part. I did the same thing over here. I ran a ridge line between these trees. Now if I was going long term, I wouldn't wrap these poor trees with all this cordage. It would damage the trees. But I'm only here overnight, so everybody calm down. Anyway, I did use these. I hung my fleece up, but guess what? It's frozen. I should have put that in with me, but it was damp last night. Didn't want damp clothes in with me while I'm trying to keep warm. So that's okay. I'm warm enough. I'm really fine. I also hung this stuff sack there. And then over here you saw that I hung this little lantern and my food bag. Now, I always bring along a couple of items to test. A, to see if they work okay, especially in cold weather. And B, to see if I really needed them. I didn't need these lanterns. There's one there, and then under here, in this part of the ridge line, inside, I have all these things hanging up. My socks that I hiked in on. This is the 150 lumen version of that same lantern. Now these are cool for a tent and for hammock and all that, but what I found was my headlamp worked just fine. Both for filming and lighting things up inside here. I just didn't need this lantern at all, either one of them. So I've got my Mora knife here and my Bluetooth speaker and my car keys all conveniently in one place, thanks to my little ridgeline setup. It's quite the sprawling ridgeline, but I brought little carabiners that I bought at the dollar store just to hang things on if I needed to, and they actually came in really handy. So another thing to consider doing. I certainly wouldn't try to climb a mountainside with these carabiners. Now, as far as my food goes, I've separated the meals into Ziplocs just to make them more organized. Breakfast this morning, Pop-Tarts, which are kind of crumbled, and oatmeal, something warm to drink to heat my bones. I've got a snack bag with some applesauce, Cliff Bar, Belvita, some peanut butter, just some energy items. Along with that, I have some beef jerky that I picked up on my way here. And I always bring a Snickers bar. I actually bring two. I ate one of these last night. So I had this and jerky for dinner at midnight when I woke up so hungry. So here's the other one. It's pretty frozen right now. I'll eat that later. And then for lunch today, we have a chicken salad cracker thing in a box and some ramen noodles, which will warm me up nicely. And last night's dinner was supposed to be this chicken teriyaki Mountain House meal. I've never had this flavor, so I was excited to try it. I just wasn't hungry. So there's my food supply for the day, for the night, for this trip, whatever you want to call it. But that's that. And right now, if the fuel's warm enough, we're going to take care of some oatmeal. This is our water that I slept with and boiled last night. It's still, I'd say, a little warmer than room temperature. Some of that is my body heat, I'm sure, but it is warm. So we'll go ahead and see if the stove will fire up. Okay, it's not ready. This still has to get warmer. It's almost there though, it's not like it was. The stove is a bust, but I always bring backup. My fire kit already has come in handy. So, I can get this thing off my head. What I've done is I've built an improv sort of stove and put an Espit cube down in there. Put the pot down low to the Espit cube so it'll boil faster. Thank goodness for planning ahead. I know that MSR makes a white gas stove that's pretty amazing in the wintertime. Unfortunately, I do not own one. And so, at least I have this. I don't have my Espit stove. I was thinking gas was the way to go, but live and learn, you know. So, we'll let that cook a little bit. get us some nice hot water. Like I said, the water's already warm, so it shouldn't take long to boil. Okay, that was really fast. That seriously boiled in like 3-4 minutes. I kid you not. And by the way, these cigarettes down here, if you can see them, those aren't mine. I don't smoke. In case anyone's wondering. There we go. Now we will, let's see if I can get this to prop. There we go. There's our oatmeal. Oh yeah. There we go. Oh, that's gonna warm my bones and other things. I don't know what that means. Well, breakfast is over. I didn't eat the Pop-Tarts. Didn't really need them. I'm gonna throw together some snacks to take on the hike. Unfortunately, I'm really starting to think one of my little boys, got into my pack. And I know that sounds paranoid, but they do this stuff where they're so interested in what I do. And I take them on a lot of these outings, if you've seen my videos at all. But they're so intrigued by it all the gear and equipment, they can't resist pulling it out and playing with it. So I couldn't find my biodegradable soap. I brought a little container with it. It's not there. I know I packed it. As well as a little backpack that folds into a little ball that I can take on a hike. So I don't have to carry that monster with me and also worry about all this stuff going into it or whatever. I'm not going to do that anyway, but it's not here. So I've got my pockets. I've got a small bottle of water over there. And I've got my snack bag. And that's it. I'm just going to put those in my big pockets here in my down jacket and hoof it up the Indian Trail and finally make it to the top of it, which I've never done, which is not really, it's not like climbing a peak of a mountain, but I've just never done it, and I want to. And I've seen video and pictures of what it's like up there in the view, so I just want to share it with you guys so that you also can get a taste for it. Hard to believe I'm 20 minutes from my house, you know? I mean, it takes 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to hike back to the car, and then 20 minutes to my house, so 40 minutes home, you know? Anyway, I brushed my teeth, I've used the mouthwash, I've washed my hands with water. Good to go. Let's go on this hike. It'll be fun. One thing I want to do before we leave is turn this trail camera back on. Not just for animals, but if someone should happen on my campsite and vandalize it or steal from me for any reason, let's make sure that turns on. Yep, we're good. Then I will have evidence. Now, I don't think anybody's going to find this. It's pretty out of the way on a snow-covered path. They'd have to almost be looking for it like I was. So, I don't think so. Not on a snowy Saturday. But there will probably be people on the Indian Trail. Just want to cover my butt in case I come back and all my stuff's missing, you know. And again, like I said, I'm not that far from home, so it's not the end of the world. But that costs a lot of money. All this stuff adds up. Especially when you spend months or even a couple of years gathering each piece of equipment and taking really good care of it so that you can do things like this. And then some jerk comes along and takes it all from you. But I guess that's the way it is with even living in a house. So that's life. hopefully no one comes by here, no one touches my stuff. I'll shut up about it and we'll get on the trail. Now, this trail, you see there's camp back there. This trail just kind of snakes through here, disappears into those trees and goes down a ravine where I showed you where that water was yesterday, and then back up over. The main trail goes off that way into Coldwater Canyon. So I don't think anybody's going to come this way. It still makes me a little nervous, but I can't carry all that stuff with me just to go on a hike. It's ridiculous. Most people understand, who are in the outdoors a lot, to respect each other's privacy, each other's property, that kind of thing. We do get a few people who don't. The only reason I get nervous is because I'm closer to the city than usual, and that attracts a lot of people who don't understand the outdoors at all. There's our creek behind us. The only footprints coming up are mine, going that way. There's none going into Coldwater, so I'm not worried about any people coming up here. Besides, who wants to go to a place called Coldwater Canyon in winter, autumn, in the snow? We have approached the bridge. This is bridge number 3 from yesterday that we didn't go across. And as you can see, some footprints here. That car that was in the parking lot when I got here, there was a couple walking down yesterday, and neither of them had backpacks, no water bottles, nothing. Walking down the trail, and the guy had this, they were probably in their early 20s, this guy had this look on his face like, and the girl was like,
so anyway, my sister, and then there's my mom, blah, 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 blah.
telling him all about her family as they passed by. Based on the look on his face and the lack of any hiking, anything they had with them, I'm thinking they came up here and
Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that's what the look on his face was, her non-stop talking. So I've stopped to cool off. We've got that much further to go. A little blast from my past. I'm going to take you right in here under this tree. Now, if you've seen my Indian Trail backpacking trip, this might look familiar to you. Somebody's built this up quite a bit more than it was. But I had a failed backpacking trip here with my son Murphy. He's 21 now, but I think a couple years ago we did this. He hung his hammock right there between those two trees. I had my tent here with a tarp over it, and then over here I had another tarp set up for our gear because it was rainy. And we tried to get a fire going here. Didn't happen. We couldn't get it going. It was just raining too much. Everything was too wet. And about 2 a.m. I got an alert on my phone. It said that they were closing Ogden Canyon for the Ogden Marathon until 4 p.m. Here it was 2 a.m. We had parked in Ogden Canyon. The only way we were getting out was at 4 p.m. So we had no choice. We packed up all our gear. We hoofed it down the hill. By the time we packed up and got to the bottom, the highway patrol was just starting to close the canyon, and they let us out. And we ended up eating breakfast in a grocery store parking lot. True story, look it up. It's the Indian Trail backpacking something or other on my channel. So just a little something to reminisce about. Funny how there's no snow up there, but there is down here. It's usually the other way around. Anyway, I'm gonna cool off. I'm sweating pretty good. I'm in a pool of sweat. My neck. I need to cool off. Just real quick, I just realized something. Set of small girly footprints, set of manly footprints, and no other footprints. I'm gonna go with
The Love Shack.
Wow, wow, wow.
Right there. I'm getting out of here. You. I feel so dirty. We're not quite there yet, but look at this view. Came from that way. Heading up that way. Sorry about the grimace. I look like an idiot. I'm trying to concentrate on showing you the view. I only have a little bit of memory left in this camera and 50% battery, so I better reserve my video for more important things than telling you my battery status and how much storage space I have. We're here. We made it to the top. Look, it's Ogden down there. Ogden Canyon. We came up this trail, and here's how I know we're at the top. There's this little shelter. Oh, somebody lost their dog, Sawyer. We'll climb inside that and check it out in a bit. Nobody ever gets inside it. I don't know if they feel too cool to do it or what. Here's our plaque. Now this trail continues and connects with a trailhead on one of the streets down there. I'm not sure which one. I'll put it up here on the screen. How far can you see? Lakeside Mountains, 52 miles. Newfoundland Mountains, 12th Street. That's the way we came up. So that's that street down there. If you can see it, I can't zoom in with this in HD because it's stupid. Promontory Mountains, that's where Promontory Point is, over that way, way out there. Apparently there's 21st Street Pond. All kinds of stuff. The Ogden Trails Network posted this, and of course people have vandalized the snot out of it, but there you go. Let's go look inside this shelter and have a snack, take a break, take in this amazing scenery. Haha. Well, unfortunately the bench is a little wet. It's covered in snow. There's some holes in the roof. But hey, it would do if you were stranded up here. Pretty cool. Graffiti's not as bad as I thought it would be. There's a lot of stuff carved in, but not a lot of crap like this. November 29th, 2013. Here's what the roof looks like. Some holes, some writing on it. Interestingly enough, no gangbanger tags, just people saying smile, good vibes, putting their name, peace and love, and some other symbol that doesn't look very nice. Anyway, the bench, as you can see, is just covered. But, so I'm not going to be able to sit in here. There's nowhere to sit. The floor is muddy. The log is covered with snow. Look, namaste. So people have some pretty good attitudes up here. At least it's not a tree they're carving up. It's kind of funny coming up here without my little pack because I had to carry my hoodie, my hood, and I also forgot to take off my thermals before I left camp. So here's my thermal top. I still have the bottom on. So I had all this stuff plus my snacks here, some jerky, a Snickers bar, and a bottle of water. no backpack, so I've been stuffing things in pockets and in hoods, and I looked ridiculous hiking up here. I'm glad no one's up here. It's kind of windy, pretty chilly. Nothing like some ice cold water at the top of a mountain. What was I thinking there? Of course, I couldn't carry my stove very easily, could I? So I'm just gonna take a break here, just chill for a little bit, take in the view, and we'll head back down. I have to tell you, I almost quit. There's this voice inside my head, and maybe you all have this, and maybe that's why we do this, that says you can't do it. You have to stop. It's too much. Turns out that point that I hit was just a little ways down the hill. If I hadn't seen this crest of the hill giving me some kind of hope, I wouldn't have made it to the top, and I would have only been yards away from it. Having never been here, I felt sort of defeated and overwhelmed. And maybe I took the wrong trail. There's nobody around. I don't know what's going on. But we made it. I didn't listen to that voice, because that voice doesn't have anything good to say to me. And anything that tells you in your heart or in your head that you can't do it, not that you shouldn't do it like it's a bad idea, like your conscience, but that you can't do it, you need to ignore it. You need to push through, because I wouldn't be sitting here right now at the top of Indian Trail for the first time in my life at this amazing view below me if I had listened to that voice 100 yards down the trail. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Got a little dippy coming over the pass, hey here. So it's cooled off significantly. Where'd I go? And well, I'm at the top of the mountain, or the top of the trail, not the mountain. Top of the mountain's clear up there. Top of the trail, and no sun over that mountain yet, so it's chilly, and it's all downhill on the way back. So I'm not worried about putting on layers, taking off layers. So I've got it all on except for my thermal underwear top that's in my hood here. Everything else is in pockets. It's time to hike back down. And I don't know what else to say. All right. Well, we're back. Looks like everything's okay. Tell you what I'm ready to do. I'm ready to lay down in that hammock and snooze for a little bit before lunch. Better turn off the trail cam first. Everything looks like it's still in order. Oh, I can't wait. I'll see you guys when lunch is ready, when I'm ready to make it. I had my nap about a half hour. Feel a lot better. I want to make lunch now, warm up with some ramen. Problem is, this is kind of slushy. This is kind of slushy, but the ends here, and especially here, have frozen. So, I'm gonna have to walk down to that little creek and get some water in my filter bag and filter it for the ramen.
Not quite full because it's so low to the ground. It's hard to get enough water out, but it's enough. Filter's frozen a little bit, so it was kind of struggling at first. There we go. That's what it's supposed to do. Now what I've learned is that gas is useless out here when it's cold, so we've resorted to Espic cubes. Brought a backup, always prepared, but it's too cold, so I'm putting it between these hand warmers to get it up to temperature so it'll actually light my Espic cube. Don't forget your gloves, kids. My hands are really cold, and these are my last 2 hand warmers. Thank goodness I'm going home soon. There we go. Ramen on the way. Well, while we're waiting for the water to boil, the ramen, I'm going to kick back here in the hammock. And I'm going to eat chicken salad with crackers. You can get these for like $1 at the store. It's awesome. It's an easy, cheap way to supplement lunch. I don't know that it would take the place of lunch, but it'll supplement it. And no, I'm not filming weird. I'm laying weird on the hammock and swinging. 'Cause it's fun. Wee. I'm tired, guys. I'm gonna have lunch and then we're gonna pack up and make like a baby and head out. Well, the pot didn't quite boil, and that was my last Espic cube. Well, I do have one more, but the noodles are soft enough, and I'll tell you what, this pot is nice and warm on my hands. So I'm going to sit down and eat this, and then we'll take care of cleaning up camp, because I only have 10 minutes of memory left on my phone. Well, guys, that's it. It's time to clean up. It looks like a lot, but it's really not. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Piece of cake. Well, that's it, guys. I had a fantastic time. I'm freezing cold. There's a cold Gatorade waiting in my car for me. A hot shower at home to make me pretty again. And I want to thank you guys for joining me on another overnight adventure. And thank you for watching. I will see you next time. And see you out on the trail.